Descubre tu oportunidad. Descubre un nuevo tú. Descubre LOURDES University.
Welcome to Discover LOURDES. This is Rafaela here, and today we have a very successful coach, the coach of the esports game here at LOURDES University, Lemar Daniels. How are you, Lemar Daniels?
Doing well. Thank you for having me today.
So we have some questions for you today, and we want to know how exciting is this place at LOURDES. My first question for you is, when did you realize that esports could be more than a hobby and become your job?
I would say in grad school about 2 years ago, I was going for sports management. I knew I wanted to work in college athletics, and then I got really involved with esports and then the esports club at the school I was going to at the time. Ultimately, I was looking for jobs, and I saw this open, and it was a mix of a passion of mine with esports versus working with college students, which is always something I've wanted to do.
Esports is something I didn't know before. It's like, I know we play games, but I didn't know it can be like a scholarship, and this is like a sport. So explain a little bit about the esports and what kind of the games they play.
We play League of Legends, Overwatch, Rocket League, Super Smash Bros., Fortnite, and Hearthstone. All the games are unique and different, just how football is different than basketball, different than volleyball, different than soccer. And it is very interesting to see that, we have players who play each individual thing. So even though we're one big esports team, and in a sense, you have everybody doing their own individual thing at the same time.
And how is the thing, like you have like time for practice and they have to be here sometime? You have like a schedule for the team?
Yeah, so we set up different times for each individual team to come in. Always try to work around. We usually practice later because naturally with esports, that's just how it is. Usually for your practice, you'll reach out to another school and say, hey, we want to do it. We call it a scrim, short for scrimmage. So we here at LOURDES will reach out to a school, let's say in Ohio or California or Indiana. You're like, hey, we want to set up a scrim with you. We'll negotiate a time that works best, and then we'll practice that way.
That's cool. And do you have like a season, like volleyball, basketball have a season? Do you have something like this?
So we actually had our first game Friday. Esports is year-round. Many of the bigger tournaments are in the spring, but you're competing year-round no matter what, because this is what they do on the professional side as well. The physical, obviously it's not as big of a physical strain on the body, so a lot of times you're playing in tournaments the entire year as you go on. So we started on Friday, and our season is really going to kick into gear this week.
And another thing, I think it's really interesting when I came to LOURDES and I heard about this, I was like, oh my God, this is something so interesting. And can they get a scholarship with the esports?
Yeah, so every member on our team has a scholarship. The only ones who might not are if they're playing another sport and the other sport is giving them their scholarship. But every other member on our team earns a scholarship, whether they've been recruited or whether they come in and they walk onto the team as well.
That's nice. And how is the recruiting part? Like,
yeah,
how do you do that?
Honestly, that is probably one of the most difficult things right now, especially with esports still being new on the college scene. It's something I actually did a research project on when I was in grad school. It was about esports recruitment on the college level. In my research, and even now, the biggest way is word of mouth. The biggest way is, hey, I go to the school, hey, my brother plays video games, let me see if I can get him to come next year. Or hey, I go to the school, I have a friend and she plays and we graduated high school together, let me see if she can come. That's the biggest way. Besides that, you have some like websites out there that really help.
So what do you think of the expansion of the esports?
I think the scene's growing a lot, which is pretty cool to see. The professional side as well, but you're starting to see, I think there's a bigger expansion on the high school and college side. High school is more and more getting into it. On the collegiate side, you're seeing this even more. I think there are about 3 years ago, there was only about 50 varsity teams. and now we got like 250 at the college level. So every year you're just getting more and more schools involved with it.
And how is the team? Do they have like some rules they have to follow?
Is respect others. Like that's my #1 rule. And I think everything else in the program will fall from there. If you respect your coaches, you'll follow what they say. If you respect your teammates, you'll be a good teammate yourself. You'll practice on your own time. If you respect other people throughout campus, you'll represent Lourdes Esports as a good way going forward. If you respect other people outside of campus as well, it's still a big thing. Besides that, we have rules on, obviously, with COVID and everything going on, with like, how we clean up the area. Also, each individual tournament has their own rules, whether that be eligibility things, whether that be obviously no cheating, things of that sort. So I have my own personal team rules. Another one is like make sure you put things back where you came from.
So the COVID changed something for the esports?
The biggest thing it changed is just how many we can have in here, which normally isn't a problem because we don't have it full all the time. But it changes in two things. First, a lot of times the player would just come in whenever they wanted. But now I have to make sure, like, there's a certain amount of people that can be in here, and I think they just naturally don't come in as much. Secondly, there are times when I have multiple teams competing at the same time, and I can't schedule practice around it because they're actual games. So it has changed things a little bit. Some of the tournaments that we would have traveled to are online now. Tournament up this weekend, Hugh Fest in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, every year got canceled and it's completely online. So there are some things that have changed, but for the most part, things are still very similar. Obviously, we're all online. All of our tournaments are still, our tournaments are still being ran if they weren't in person, online as well.
Yeah, and another thing for the team, like you told us, you have a lot of games they have to play, but they have to play out of those games, so they can like just choose and say, I want to play Fortnite today.
No, so if I recruit somebody for that game, I'm expecting them to come play that game. They have full right to play whatever they want on their own time. But unless they can show like a considerable amount of skill in something else, then I'll be like, you're only like competing in your one game. All 6 of my different teams compete in 6 different leagues, and so I have to like find all the rules and regulations for each individual league, and so it's a very intensive job that we have here. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for the athletes, if they have bag, what they bring in it?
What they'll normally bring is a keyboard, a mouse, and a headset. If they're bringing their own, sometimes they like to use the ones we provide in the arena. The way I see it is like that stuff's like if you have a basketball team, the team gives you basketball shoes, but sometimes you like the ones that you have yourself. It's the same way, like sometimes people just like the mouse that they have, or the keyboard they have, or the headset they have. Not much really outside of that. Those will probably be just the primary things that you'll ever end up bringing yourself.
Okay, so this is your favorite one?
Yeah, so this is my personal keyboard. This is one I bought. It is a 10 keyless, so as you can see, the number keys are gone, but it is RGB, so all the keys light up, whatever color I want it to light up. Really like it because it's just like nice and portable versus kind of like a bigger full-out keyboard. And then my mouse as well, chose it to go along with obviously the color of the keyboard. As well, it lights up. It is very, very light.
It is very
definitely
light.
Love like just the lightweight feel of it, and it kind of just definitely goes along with the keyboard and everything. So,
but do you see like a big difference between like this one and like
it's all off of preference, right? Like for the thing about basketball, some people like low top shoes, some people like high top shoes,
And what about the computers? Like, do you think the computers need something else to play, or I can play like in anyone?
No, so you definitely need, on specific games, you definitely need some pretty strong computers. The things that are most important are your CPU, like the actual chip that goes in the motherboard, your graphics card, and your monitor. Those are going to be the ones that really kind of choose what games you're going to be able to play, because some games just need better clarity, some games just need a stronger computer and better resolution to be able to actually play it at a high level.
So if anybody interested in the esports, and how they can contact you?
So the best way to contact me is by email. My email is cdaniels, that's all one word, all lowercase, cdaniels @lourdes.edu. If you have any interest, shoot me an email. we'll schedule a time to call and we'll see if we can make something work.
So thank you, Coach Daniels, for having us in
No
here
problem.
in this beautiful place. I love this.
Thank you.
And if I want, can I be back here sometime?
Of course, obviously, anytime, feel free to come on in.
And can I try to play some Fortnite?
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do, yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for watching us. I'll be here next week, same time, same day, with more exciting things for you. And I hope to see you here on Descubre Lourdes on TV show Voces Latinas.